People are asking what you thought of Navarrete's performance. He kind of fluked a little
I
bit.
think with Navarrete, you know what? He's got the height, the power, the heart to compete. But I think it's more. I think his problem is more about his dedication to his eating habits. I guess because he had trouble making weight, and he's moving up in weight. And I seen him at the weigh-ins. He was pretty drained. He had trouble. He told me, I feel like shit because I had to cut weight. I had a weight division that he's actually moving up.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have problem. You know what I mean? I think he needs to change his eating habits. From what I understand, he doesn't have a diet.
People were laughing that he had the donut logo on his, and he was pudgy.
And he
That happened to us with Brandon too, with Winchell's, remember?
yeah, Winchell's, yeah. And he has, and his body, you could tell he's not, he's not solid. He just, he got away with it in 3 weight divisions, but at a bigger weight division at 135, it's gonna be hard.
Because when you're not solid, he was very flabby on the sides and stuff. Those punches are gonna do more damage. Right?
I'm real shit, Robert, as a trainer. Like, if you see a guy's moving up and you see that, that's what's carrying him, the awkward style, the long arms, the pressure that he puts on you, and that he can't take a punch even though he gets dropped. Like, were you expecting that in this new division?
I expected him to win.
Oh, you were
win.
oh
Yeah, I expected him to win because of his style, because of the power that he has. But it was just too much for him. The lightweight division was just too much with him. And I think that what is it, Derevchenko? What was his name?
Berinchyk.
Is not. He's a world champion, so he fucking got.
And a former Olympian,
A former Olympian, world champion. But I think at lightweight, he might not be the most talented champion right now with Shakur, with Tank, and with Loma. He's probably like the least talented guy, and he was still able to beat Navarrete, that 3 division champions, somebody that people never gave a chance, to beat. He's that champion now, so you got to give him respect. So knowing that Navarrete moving up in weight, imagine if he would fight
any of those guys,
or Shakur or Tank, he probably would have got hurt.
And outclassed, like he would have looked very slow.
So I think 130 is where he's still champion at 130, if I'm not mistaken. So he should come down. He should change his eating habits, get a good nutritionist, and his style is going to be awkward for anybody. At 130, he could dominate.
People are asking about Rayo because they know that he trains out of here now. I know you talked about it on the podcast, but there's still people asking about that handshake situation. He kind of left Rayo hanging with the handshake. Some people are like, oh, he didn't see him. You were there. I wasn't. Did he see him put his hand out?
You know what? When you're face to face, because I did it many times and I see all my fighters doing it, you see everything that's going on. There's no way he didn't see it. Because even if you have your eyes focused on your opponent,
The peripheral vision.
You see everything. I'm seeing you. I'm seeing your toes too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see you. You know what I mean? I'm seeing you and your eyes. I see. You see it. He purposely didn't want to shake his hand, and I think that's. Rayo's also Mexican. People don't see him as a Mexican.
Yes, but isn't he DACA? He's a dreamer, right?
Yeah, he's a dreamer.
Yes.
In Mochi, Sinaloa. So people don't even see him as a Mexican. They have him as from the U.S.
Yeah, they think it's Mexican versus Mexican American.
He grew up in
Seattle,
Washington, because he trains in the States. They don't see him as a real Mexican. I have a fighter here, Lindolfo Delgado, representing Mexico in the Olympics. Lives in Mexico, but trains here with us in California and fights for a promoter in California. And every time he fights a Mexican, they're not going for him, they're going for the other guy. He fought Pollo from Mexico. No Mexican was cheering for Lindolfo.
No.
They were all cheering for Pollo. His last 3 fights have been against Mexicans, and they don't get the support because they're over here. They decided to train the States to represent a promoter from the States, maybe a manager from the States. So that's why they don't see them as real Mexicans.
Wait, I gotta go on with it. How do the people see you? As Mexican or Mexican American?
You know what? I see myself as a solid Mexican,
did the Mexicans
100%,
support
because
you?
my dad, they do support me, but they don't see me as a real Mexican. Look, it's crazy because I grew up. My dad and my mom. I grew up in Mexico.
Yeah.
When I was born, I think 40 days. When I was born, went back to Mexico for the first 3 or 4 years of my life. Then we came to Oxnard, grew up in Oxnard, whatever. So I consider myself Mexican. Even though I was born here, I was made in Mexico. My mom came to the States illegally just so I could be born in the States. Once I was born, she went back to Mexico.
Ayo,
So I
good
consider
job.
myself a Mexican.
You are.
But in Mexico, they don't see me as a Mexican. You know, I was the first Mexican to win the Boxing Writers Association Trainer of the Year.
Yeah.
But they don't see me as the first Mexican because I was born in the States. You know what I mean?
You know why that's confusing? Because ESPN put a whole thing about Navarrete being the 7th or something fourth division champion, right? And they put all the Mexican fighters and Leo was born in Rosemead.
He was born in
Rosemead.
Exactly.
So what do we have to do to be considered
Exactly.